Looking through the crystal ball, can you...
Ciao and welcome to Gio's Paintbrush, where 5 minutes is all it takes to be blown away by one of the world's greatest artists. There are many things about the 21st century that provide opportunities for a better quality of life than ever before thought possible, including continuing developments in health and medicine, improved access to higher education, we still have a long way to go here, and the creation of global communities via internet technology, where engaged citizens from distinct cultures thousands of miles apart can come together to share news, opinions, passionate causes, goods and services, and of course art. But for all its benefits and potential benefits, one would hope that with increased cultural contact comes increased empathy and understanding between societies. There are some disturbing, unforeseen consequences to globalization as well. One of the more troubling trends is localization, the one-of-a-kind unique character of a village, neighborhood, city, region, or even nation seems to decline in direct proportion to the increase in globalization, so that whether one is standing at Las Ramblas in Barcelona, Spain, Via del Corso in Roma, Italy, Grafton Street in Dublin City, Ireland, Piazza Duomo in Milano, Italy, or even alongside an ancient spring in Bath, England, an orange tree in Sevilla, Spain, or a 2,000-year-old Greek street in Sorrento, Italy, the dress, the shops, the food, the means of transport, the technology, the sounds of the scene, and even the pace of life, well, they're increasingly the same. It's not that one cannot find what's unique and local anymore. It's just that it's harder and harder to do so, with no apparent end in sight, to the encroachment of a rapidly spreading sameness. But then again, there is Venice. Beautiful, rotting, hypnotic, dying, inspiring, at once invigorating with life and ebbing slowly away, much like us. It's the only city in the world that is not in immediate peril of losing its unique sense of place, its one-of-a-kind locality. On one hand, this is what makes Venezia a treasure of the world, a one-of-a-kind place to be cherished, cared for, supported, and loved. On the other hand, the economic cost of striving to maintain its historic character, along with rising water levels caused by climate change and the age of the thousands of oak pylons supporting the city's 100-plus islands, is ever so slowly taking the breath of Venice away, and has been for hundreds of years, as tourism replaced east-west trade as the once mighty city-state's primary means of support. One may be forgiven for asking, is attempting to preserve the authentic local character of a place worth the sacrifice, the death of that place? I'm reminded of the words of Prince Richard in the 1968 film The Lion in Winter, when Prince Geoffrey says to his brother Richard, as all three brothers await their fate in the dungeon, "You chivalric fool, as if the way one fell down mattered." Richard replies, "When the fall is all there is, it matters." In today's show, we'll explore a beautiful, historic, and iconic element in the Venetian landscape, the Ponte di Rialto, built in the late 16th century and designed by architect Antonio da Ponte, a hometown boy who managed to beat out Michelangelo and Palladio for the commission on this oldest and most important of the bridges that span the famed Canale Grande. Molto grazie e prego. When one arrives in Venice via train, through Stazione Santa Lucia, exits the station and boards an awaiting vaporetto, as Venice's water taxis are called, to begin the cruise up the Grand Canal, it's a jaw-dropping experience. It's as if you've been carried into a scene from a richly colored novel, a fantastical setting dreamed up by Swift or Lewis Carroll, in which wonderful and stunningly beautiful decaying palazzi, side by side as far as the eye can see, serve as the central backdrop, and there, where the long boulevard is supposed to be, is instead a wide, winding street, paved not with asphalt, but with an invigorating, lively, blue-green water. And so you grab your bag and your ticket, jump aboard your vaporetto from Santa Lucia toward San Marco, and head up the Grand Canal, making your way past Ca d'Oro among dozens of other awe-inspiring palaces. Ca is Venetian dialect for house, and the Ca d'Oro, or House of Gold, began before 1420, is generally recognized as the most striking of the Venetian Gothic palazzos. About 300 meters after Ca d'Oro, you round a bend and there, looking straight ahead, the Rialto Bridge comes into view for the first time. While most passengers disembark closer to Piazza San Marco, the epicenter of political, religious, and cultural life in Venice for about 1,200 years, and today ground zero for about 12 million tourists who visit the city annually, this timeless stone pedestrian bridge across the Canale Grande stands near the Rialto Market, the city's famed commercial district located northwest of San Marco via land. This elegant stone bridge, completed in 1591 to replace 3 prior and fleeting wooden bridges and a pontoon bridge dating back to the 12th century, was the only pedestrian bridge across the Grand Canal for more than 250 years, until the wooden Accademia Bridge, still standing today, was erected in the mid-19th century. And the Rialto, tastefully and simply arched 24 feet high in the center to enable merchant ships to pass under it. Venice, after all, was once the wealthy middleman of east-west trade, a powerful cosmopolitan city-state with an impressive navy and significant influence over world events. Well, this bridge was built to last. It's more than 400 years old now, and miraculously, the more than 10,000 wooden pilings driven into the canal to support the bridge, they still do the job. Earlier in its history, cannon were fired from the bridge without undermining its structural integrity in the least. The architect of the Ponte di Rialto, Antonio da Ponte, Anthony of the Bridge, certainly an apropos name if there ever was one, a Venetian, in keeping with the locale, he designed a bridge that had outer walkways on each side open to the canal, and a larger central pedestrian thoroughfare, stairs climbing up and then down for the most part, with small merchant shops lining both sides of the main path. It is true that, aesthetically, the Rialto Bridge has engendered mixed reviews over the years, perhaps because some find that it appears too heavy, too stone-like, too plodding or serious, lacking ambition or imagination, perhaps, for such an ethereal, magical, and painfully beautiful city. To me, this line of criticism is ridiculous. First, given the temporary and unreliable nature of the various wooden and pontoon structures that preceded Antonio da Ponte's bridge, dismissing the achievement of designing a structure that served its function perfectly, safely, efficiently for at least 4 centuries, I'm guessing no bridge built within the last 100 years will ever enjoy such longevity. And second, I find the beauty in this bridge, given the setting, to be its simplicity, its lack of ornamentation. Apart from a few simple religious figures in stone, like Venice's patrons, Saints Theodore and Mark, the bridge is unadorned, with an uncomplicated form and plain gray color, with 6 Romanesque arches, as opposed to the Venetian pointed Gothic arches on each side, and a taller, wider central portico in the center, supported by classical Doric columns, the plainest, simplest of the Greek columns. This single-span covered bridge is 48 meters long and 22 meters wide, and features the symmetry the ancients found so stable and eye-pleasing, and that the Renaissance sought to recreate for a new era. Part of the support for the bridges involves piers that jut out into the canal on each side. What I find so appealing is that Antonio made certain the character of this first stone bridge across the canal did not detract from the remarkable setting all around it. The water of the canal, the gondolas, the palazzos, the Venetian sky, a unique gray-blue that, with the water of the canal below, seems to envelope this city as if wrapped in fabric in changing shades of blue. And I imagine he had a sense of the historical importance of this project too, given that Michelangelo and Palladio sought the commission he ultimately won. The result was, to my mind, a perfect unity of form and function, producing a rock-solid, quite literally, and lasting means of crossing the canal on foot, a merchant's bridge for a merchant's district, while, in nodding to the most elemental artistic achievements of the ancients, preserve the prominence of the canal and the palazzos in the Venetian landscape. It must have been tempting, given the high-profile nature of this job, to try to make the bridge itself the show, as others have done with succeeding bridges. But Antonio, in showing restraint and humility, while focusing on functionality and unity of setting, even respect for the setting, his hometown after all, contributed much to the history of his city, and to the stunning vistas of Venice we continue to enjoy, while we still can today. Molto grazie e arrivederci.
picture it like I could when I was small, and it's so picturesque looking through the crystal ball.